Support comes from the Missouri Forest Products Association, providing more than 41,000 jobs in the production of wood pallets, railroad ties, white oak barrels, hardwood floors, and more. Details at choosewood.com.
This is St. Louis on the Air from St. Louis Public Radio. I'm Elaine Cha. Back in December, we featured a St. Louis couple about their plans to build a 420-square-foot tiny house and attached urban farm, and to do so with all volunteer labor and recycled materials. Their story was a huge hit on our social media channels, and we've been following their work with a mind to share how their Benton Park West tiny house project is progressing. And today we're happy to welcome Dwayne Tiggs and Rikki back to the studio to share what's up, literally, with that project. Rikki and Tiggs, so great to see you again.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Now, the last time you two dropped in to provide an update was the first half of April. It was about 4 months after we first talked with you. And at that point in the spring, you'd nearly completed the foundation of the house, and there were berries and grapes peeking through the soil. Tiggs, when it comes to the house, what is now happening? We mentioned the roof in our promos.
Yeah, we've, through the help of several volunteer build days and getting at it, we've got the walls up, the roof is on, the sheeting is going up. I think we're one wall away from completing the rest of the sheeting, and then looking to call for our inspection, for our framing inspection, and move on from there.
Wow.
And starting to do the exterior finishes and interior finishes,
Have there been any hiccups along the way?
A few. The house is 3.5 feet taller.
That's almost as tall as I am.
Yeah, it's the plumber action is a little sparse these days. Hard to get a hold of one. So we wanted to make sure we came correct and had the project available for the community on build day. So we made some design changes and took them to the city and utilized about 200 recycled cinder blocks to do it.
Wow.
And then put in a joist floor and framed up on top of that. And so we're trucking along, still waiting on a plumber.
Still waiting on a plumber. So that word is now out. Rikki, what's happening with the garden?
A lot. There's so much going on. We have tomatoes and peppers and a bunch of perennials. I'm putting in a bunch of flowers. Sunflowers are peeking up, and we have service berries. We just trellised the grapes, which looks really cool. Yeah. I'm excited. It's only going to get better.
So is there so much that it is difficult to harvest? How does that work?
Watering has been the biggest challenge because we have a water cistern on the back of the house across the street. So once we get the roof on, we're going to move it over, and it'll be less carrying buckets, which will be really nice.
Okay. And are your kids now helping with the garden and the house in ways that they couldn't when they were in school?
Yeah, they're out of school and they're high energy, so they've been out helping with watering and planting, and we're working on identifying different plants in the garden and neighbors' gardens and native plants, and they're pretty good at it and different uses.
Great. Well, and speaking of some of the plants, last time you were here and just now you'd mentioned service berries. What are those?
Service berries are wonderful. They're only ripe about a week at the end of May, beginning of June. They're also called June berries, and they're bright red and really juicy and sweet.
So to get all of this work done, I mean, with any project, especially one that involves making things in a community, there are a few folks who aren't necessarily down with what's going on, but you all have had much more positivity, like people who've been really supportive. Tiggs, tell me about a couple of the people who've come through to help.
Yeah, it's interesting all day long. People engage with you. Some people want to watch. Some people want to help. Some people they want to just give you criticisms, as it were, how they think that should be done. But yeah, I some people are really manic about getting in and helping you, and they are just like, hey, I just need a friend right now. So it's a really fun engagement project from not only the people in the neighborhood, but the people who have been super generous in donating, materials. And you end up helping them. We have one where they've been donating some sandstone to us, and then the guy was like, yo, a tree fell down in the backyard, I need a chainsaw. I was like, yo, tool over here, we got you, And so we were able to also help community outside of them only helping us. So we're building relationships.
Great.
And it's a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. Now, workshops is also part of what you are offering as a way to teach people in the community to do things. What is happening on the workshops front? Maybe either garden related or construction?
So as we get closer, this is one of the challenges of the liability. You don't want to 20 people up on a roof.
Sure.
I think where, for me, I can speak in the construction part, is focusing on, say, the mosaic tile aspects. We had a small little group of gals come through, and they did all the corbelling scrolling for the second deck in the house. So when you go in, there's this really nice little detail that they learned how to use a saber saw or a jigsaw, and scribe it out, and then what they were being utilized for. So that was a lot of fun. So really trying to go forward and break up, compartmentalize the project, and make little micro shops, like a mosaic studio, or it could be like a cabinet studio. Some of these more tangible, smaller projects that people can expand from and out of.
Yeah. And then the garden front?
Yeah, it's been really nice having so many neighbors and people come by and want to talk about the plants and offer suggestions on, if something isn't doing well, how to help it out. Mm-hmm. The whole project, it's just been really beautiful how many people have been involved and given their input and time.
Is there something in particular that you've learned from a community member who's walked by that you've been able to sort of put into practice right away?
That's a good question. I mean, it's just a broad range, we have an older guy, Ben, who's retired, and he's like, I always wanted to build my own house, and I can see that being done. And so it's really inspiring to see people in different stages of their life, because we got younger people too who are just starting off and are like, well, what direction do I go? Oh, wait, we can do this. And so I think that 40-acre and a mule dream is really tangible with this project. I think it's inspiring people to go beyond their limits and go after it. It's kind of cool.
What do you have planned for when the house is complete? Do you have kind of an idea of when that will be, Rikki?
Well, Tiggs always says it takes a lifetime to make a house a home.
Okay.
But we're hoping for fall.
Mm-hmm. And the last time you were in here, you all were talking about getting some people together, offering some hot dogs, beer to those who can drink beer, as well as some other things.
Yeah, we were going to have a party, a big old party when we get it closed in, kind of celebrate, just the spirit that went into community and building and just it's just, I guess where I'm at.
Mm-hmm.
Just celebrate community and new friendships and bonds and reflecting upon the mistakes and successes therein, because there's been parts of oh man, well, I like that now. That looks a little bit better.
I like that the tiny house is 3.5 feet taller.
Yeah, it looks like it's trying to stand up to its neighbors.
Right.
Okay. Oh yeah.
People have been walking by though. Oh wow, your tiny house is huge.
Yeah, really. Well, huge in its spirit and hopefully huge in its impact as well. Rikki Watts and Dwayne Tiggs are the couple behind the Benton Park West Tiny House Project. Thank you so much for taking the time to come back in to talk with us today.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
This episode was produced by Maya Norfleet.
Our audio engineer is Aaron Dorr. This podcast was mixed and edited by Aaron.
Our executive producer is Alex Hoyer.
St. Louis on the Air is a production of St. Louis Public Radio. Understanding starts here.
St. Louis on the Air proudly supports local artists by using music from Life Creative Group.
Do you find yourself regularly listening to episodes of St. Louis on the Air? Suggest us to a friend you think might enjoy our conversations, and leave us a review and rating on Apple Podcasts on the App Store. It's the simplest way to help people discover our show. Thank you.
St. Louis Public Radio is a member-supported service of the University of Missouri St. Louis.
Support comes from the Missouri Forest Products Association. Missouri produces wood pallets, railroad ties, white oak barrels, hardwood floors, and more. Details on the variety of products made in the state are at choosewood.com.